Okay, so today we're going to take a deep dive into a situation that's still developing.
Yeah.
It's a news story coming out of Chicago.
Yeah,
And, Chicago, unfortunately, has had its fair share of gun violence.
absolutely. A city grappling with that issue for quite some time now.
So we have this breaking news report from CBS Chicago, and it's about a shooting investigation.
Oh, okay.
And the thing that makes this even more tense is that this is happening right near a school.
Oh, wow. Okay, so this is a developing situation. We're learning about this in real time.
Exactly. It's like we're right there with the investigators almost.
Yeah, you get that immediacy and you can feel the tension.
Right. So this is happening in the Chatham neighborhood.
Okay.
Specifically just a block away from Perspective's Leadership Academy.
A school a block away from a shooting investigation, that's a cause for concern, for sure.
Yeah, and the report even mentions that the entrance to the school is blocked off with police tape.
Wow. So they're really taking precautions there.
Yeah, and to make things even more, I guess, unsettling, they found at least 6 shell casings at the scene.
6 shell casings, that's significant, when you think about it. That immediately raises the stakes of the investigation.
Right.
Multiple shots fired.
Yeah.
If you're a detective on the scene right now, your mind must be racing trying to piece together what happened.
Exactly, trying to figure out, is this random or was this targeted?
Right. Was this a targeted attack or is this something that just erupted?
Right, and how do you even begin to sort through all of that evidence and figure out
Absolutely.
what the story is?
It's like a puzzle with incredibly high stakes, and you're trying to put the pieces together as quickly as possible.
And you have to think about the people who go to that school, Perspective's Leadership Academy, the students, the teachers, the parents.
Absolutely. The impact on the community is immense.
Their whole routine is disrupted, and suddenly they have to deal with this fear and uncertainty.
Yeah, their daily lives are turned upside down. You're sending your kids to school. You expect it to be a safe haven.
Exactly, a place where they can learn and grow.
Right. And when something like this happens, it really shakes that foundation of security.
And it makes you wonder, how do you even process something like this?
Mhm.
If you were a student there, how would you be feeling right now?
It's a lot to handle for anyone, let alone young people trying to navigate their education and their lives.
So let's shift gears a little bit and talk about the legal side of things.
Yeah.
Depending on what the investigation reveals, what kind of charges could we be looking at here?
Yeah, so, we have to look at the severity of the situation, the potential harm involved.
Okay.
So one possibility is aggravated assault,
Okay.
which means there was a serious threat of harm potentially involving a weapon,
Oh.
but depending on the intent
Right.
and the circumstances,
Mm.
the charges could go even higher.
Okay.
So was anyone injured in this incident?
Right.
Was this a random act or was someone specifically targeted?
This is what investigators are going to have to figure out.
Exactly. Those are the key questions that will really determine the legal consequences here.
And, we keep mentioning those 6 shell casings.
Right.
But that's not just a number that represents potential chaos and fear,
Absolutely.
maybe even injuries. We don't know all the details yet.
We don't. And it's important to remember that this is not just a news story. It's about real people whose lives are affected by this.
Right. It's about real lives being disrupted
Right.
and potentially permanently changed.
And, that brings up the question of what happens next for this community.
Right. What does this do to their sense of safety?
Exactly. Do they feel comfortable sending their kids back to school after this, or is there always going to be that lingering fear?
And, this isn't just about this one incident. It's about the bigger picture of gun violence in Chicago and really across the nation.
Absolutely. Chicago has faced a unique set of challenges when it comes to gun violence.
Right.
We know gang activity has been a factor, socioeconomic factors play a role.
But it's not just Chicago.
Not at all.
Yeah.
Sadly, this incident fits into a much larger and more complex national trend.
So it makes you wonder, where do we even begin to tackle an issue as big as gun violence?
That is the million-dollar question.
Are there any easy solutions?
The debate around gun control is so polarized.
Right. It's a really tough conversation.
Extremely tough. You have passionate arguments on both sides.
Yeah.
But I think the first step is acknowledging the complexity of the issue.
Yeah.
We need to move beyond just sound bites and really engage in a thoughtful dialogue.
We have to understand that there are many different perspectives.
Exactly. And we need to consider all the factors that contribute to gun violence if we're going to find meaningful solutions.
So for now, we're left with this developing story and a community that's trying to cope with the fear and uncertainty.
And hopefully seeking answers and support during this difficult time.
And so many unanswered questions.
It's a reminder that these events have ripple effects that extend far beyond the immediate incident.
So I think it's important for everyone to stay informed about how this case unfolds.
Absolutely. Stay engaged with the news, follow the developments.
But I think it's even more important to think about the bigger picture of gun violence
Right.
and how it impacts individuals, families, and communities.
Exactly. To really grasp the human cost of these tragedies.
You know, this deep dive has really given us a glimpse into a very complex issue with no easy answers.
It's a multifaceted problem for sure.
And it makes me wonder, what can we do individually or as a community to create a safer environment, especially for kids?
It's a question worth pondering.
They deserve to learn and grow without living in fear.
They absolutely do. Every child deserves to feel safe and secure.
That's something for all of us to think about.
It's a call to action in a way.
Thanks for joining us for this deep dive.
Thank you.
We'll continue to follow this story as it develops,
And keep asking the tough questions.
and hopefully we can all work together to find some solutions.
Absolutely. That's the goal.
Thanks again for listening.
Take care.